All right, I think we're live. Good. And we have at least one person watching, so that's a positive sign on a Saturday, especially before Christmas. So today, we're going to make a few announcements, a few introductions, and then we're going to get into a little bit of Section 8, and we're going to answer questions today. So, first, let you guys know I am the owner of Section8Consulting.com. I work with hundreds, if not thousands, of people every year in relation to Section 8 getting their vouchers, low income housing, affordable housing, and one of the many types of vouchers across all 50 states and around 5,500 counties, including Hawaii and Puerto Rico. For those of you who know me on YouTube, I've been around here 7 years, almost 8, and I'm also on Google. I'm ranked number one for both, by the way, so there's no real guessing as far as my reputation is concerned. Now, this is going to be a live video, and if you're on your TV, your phone, computer, and any other device you have, including your refrigerator, you should be able to see a chat window where you can ask questions. The main thing I want to express is this video is live as of right now, which is 12/18/2021. So if you come in a later point, this may not seem like a live video. It's around 3:47 Texas time or Central Standard Mountain Time, just to be clear. And it'll go on for maybe an hour, depends on the crowd. So now, a couple of announcements I want to make in regards to the channel before we get into questions and answers are going to be some of the landlords. So, as many of you know, I work with a lot of landlords. I do federal witness work where I speak on behalf of clients in federal courts about Section 8, county courts, state courts, but I also deal with landlords. And a lot of these landlords may be small, a couple of units. Sometimes they have up to 500 units. I'm not the property manager for them. I screen their clients and tenants and I help them get set up. As I'd mentioned about a week ago, we're adding, I added a landlord with 88 properties just outside of Chicago. And it looks like it's going to be another 3 weeks before I start introducing this property. So if you are from Illinois and somewhere around the Chicago area, it would be an opportune time to speak with me in regards to those properties because I do not, as a regional area manager for a lot of my landlords, I am the person that approves these applications and I do not put the ridiculous terms that most landlords do. In other words, if you've committed a crime, you've been evicted, and other things, you've got a better shot with me than you ever would, with a typical landlord that's looking for an absurd credit score. They're wanting to have 20 times the rent and all kinds of other stuff. Because I work in this field, I understand that most people have less than perfect reputations in many respects. That not including the pandemic and what that's done to us. So, so here's the big announcement. We're viewing properties now worth several $1 million, and several. And what I mean by that is, I'm looking across the U.S. for this landlord. We're going to purchase the property, not me. I'm going to manage it, get all the people in there, and so possibly, I don't know the state or county yet. I'm still doing the research, but around 150 or more units. All right. And now these units would probably be more for people that are extreme low income that don't necessarily need a whole apartment. So this would be more like single room occupancy with a small kitchen and so on. For those of you that are on a small disability payment or a very tiny social security check and stuff like that, then this might be appropriate if I end up even. So what the deal will go through when we find the property. I'm looking at around 300 right now across the U.S., the big ones, and we'll see. If you're lucky enough to live in an area like that, then it would be phenomenally cheap to live at one of these places. Now, one of the things I can tell you is I do not hunt for properties with landlords in terrible areas. So if money's spent, you can be assured it will not be in a gang related neighborhood, in a bad neighborhood. It was up to me, not even a low income neighborhood. It'll be in a good neighborhood, and the building itself will just be low income. I'm sure that'll piss everybody off in the neighborhood, but oh well. I think that people struggle enough with housing without having to have the burden of living with other people that are possibly not wanting to do the right thing. So I intentionally look for properties that have impeccable conditions and that are in the nicer areas, but still deliver a very reasonable rent. And so That announcement will come as soon as it's going to come. It could be weeks, it could be a month or two. But when it happens, and if it happens to be in your state, then you can reach out to me. I've done this many times. This is not the first time. I've talked to you guys over the years about 500 units, 200 units. We just did 88. We're going to do another 150, 160, maybe 200. Okay, so the beautiful part about it is you know who I am. Most of you know who I am by reputation. And so if I'm the guy that makes the deciding factor, it doesn't make a damn what the leasing agent at that complex says. It is contingent on what I say. She's there to make sure the light bulbs get turned on. I'm the person that would actually be approving your application. That's the arrangement I have with all my landlords. All right, guys. As y'all see that beautiful stain? So, good morning and happy holidays, man. We are so excited. You know what? Santa Claus is coming. For some of you, Santa's going to have a box of coal. For others, they're going to have gifts. And for a lot of us, we just don't have money, and we're going to get by the best way we can. The best gift we have are the people, the friends, family, and those animals, our pets that keep us warm. That's the important thing. It's not always about money, folks. For those of you that are struggling through these holidays, look, I've spent many holidays with nothing. So don't let that shit shake you down to nothing, okay? You'll get through it. We're a good country. We're going to get through all these different things. Now, again, I just want to express one thing, a little bit of gratitude, guys. If you have questions about Section 8 housing, low-income housing, getting a voucher, you're dealing with discrimination, you're dealing with a shitty landlord, you're dealing with the housing authority where everybody's got an attitude and won't give you a straight answer. You're dealing with a loved one, a sister, a brother, an aunt, a grandmother that is unstable, can't stabilize, they need help with housing. Single mom, a lot of children with disabilities and other problems. I do consulting work. This is what I do. My success rate's around 93%. During the pandemic, it waned around 90%. That means there's a 7 to 10% chance that the work that I would do for you in handling your case would fail. But the other 90% of the time, it should, in most cases, it works out. So keep that in mind, and I'm going to give you a couple of links for that. I always ask people, check my reputation. If I'm not really number one on YouTube, if I'm not really the number one ranked consultant on Google, then don't hire me. It's simple. Due diligence. Look at the reviews. Read around. I don't want anybody making an uninformed decision about me. You see my point? People that are out here to do the wrong thing, they won't do that. And they certainly won't put their real name, their real street address, and their home on their website. I do. That's the difference between a fraud and me. So you'll always know who I am. Please, guys, do not show up at my front door. Not uninvited anyways. All right, guys. So I'm going to address a few comments here. So far, no questions. So I guess everybody's watching quietly, deciding whether or not they're going to say anything. I'm okay with that. So it's a Saturday. Y'all got to warm up to me. I'm warming up to you. So Monique Jenkins, good morning and happy holidays. T, welcome back, brother. How are you doing? Greetings from the family. Danielle Faulkner, hello, Daniel. It's been a minute. Monique Jenkins, hello, T. And then T, exciting times, Jay. Gratitude. I appreciate that, my friend. And so, by the way, guys, I'm reading comments. Let's see. Trisha Smith, hello. I just turned in. Where is this property? I didn't hear you, and you just turned the TV on. Well, Trisha, the property, we're looking at properties for several million, with around up to 150 to 200 units. It hasn't come to fruition yet. So I'm having a discussion with the owners. Tell you a little bit about this particular owner. This guy has a big, big heart. One thing you'll know about me is when I work with clients, I never even consider the option of putting y'all in project-based housing as an easy way out, okay? Another thing you know about me is when I deal with landlords, I'm always very upfront with them when they decide to hire me under contract. I will not help slumlords. If you are a shitty person, you're a bad landlord, you're running a crack house, don't expect me to consult you. I will tear up that contract and then good luck to you, okay? I only work with landlords that have the heart for this, that actually give a damn what happens on the property and with their clients. I can tell you this guy does. In fact, he lives in Katy, Texas, which is only 30 minutes from me. His investment group and so on is in California, and a big chunk of his portfolio is in Chicago. And then this next project for, $1 million or $2 million, Will likely be in a different state. Like I said, I'm reviewing options to see what's going to be the best thing. I don't want an old rundown building from 1932 that's in a bad area of town. We're looking for good properties. So these are properties when people and people move in, they're inspired, not terrified to go out the door after 5 p.m. I don't, I'm not even interested in those kind of properties. So, okay, moving on. So when I know more about that, guys, y'all know. First of all, look, if you click on the picture, my picture on this YouTube channel, it'll bring you to the main page, and under there you'll see a little spot that says community page. It's kind of like Facebook. I post lots of updates there. There are hundreds of them. You can learn a whole lot about me and my thought process and updates there. Because YouTube does not make any other way for me to communicate other than a video and on that community page. So bookmark that damn thing because it has a whole lot to say, and I often say 98% of what I have to share is there outside of my videos. Kevin Winters, how are you? When are you moving to Arkansas? So let's talk about that. Since you guys haven't really hit me with any big questions about Section 8 affordable housing, as most of you know, I bought a forest in the Ozarks, and as many of y'all know, the Ozarks run through several states. It's an area. So I bought a forest at the very top of Arkansas. I'm going to be building a house there on that land. It is an unincorporated area with zero restrictions and virtually no zoning. In other words, if you decide to build a house and run deck it through the woods, then nobody's going to bother you. It has a utility pole, but there's no water. I'm going to drill for that. Most of the building process for the house, I'll be videotaping. I'm going to be doing that myself little by little. Every other day, I'll dedicate 4 hours. The goal here is for me to enjoy the process, not to go swing a hammer for 10 hours a day and then hate what I'm doing within a couple of months. It's the goal out there is to build a house over the course of time. Of course, living in an RV won't be the most fun thing, but I'm not exactly going to go buy a dollar store RV. I'm going to get a decent one and bring in my herd of cats. Y'all know that. By the way, let's talk about the kitty cats. Y'all know as much as I do that the big part of what this channel is me talking about my cats and everything else that goes on in my life. So if you don't know this, I have 21 cats. At one point, I had 22. Matter of fact, let's take a peek real quick because today it is finally cold in Texas, raining, and so the cats are in their natural state. So let's take a look. There's one big muffin. And then if you look up there carefully, she took off. All right, well, I thought she'd be there. So that would be my Siamese. That big cat tower is about 6'8" and that's her private. That's her penthouse. Unfortunately, none of the rest of the cats are in here. One's in the closet sleeping. He's my weirdo cat. All right. So, anyways, I didn't even answer the question. So let's just be clear. I'm moving August 20th, 2022. Exactly little over 9 months from now. It's taken a hell of a lot of planning to get out there and trying to orchestrate this whole deal. Today, I successfully have now packed 95% of my home. Okay. That was a hell of a feat. I did a little bit every day, almost a year. That's how you do something when you don't want to make yourself miserable. Most of you, when you want to move, what do? You try to pack the whole fucking house in 3 days, right? And then you just hate the whole thing. So I would just dedicate an hour or two every day for a year. And then I did the whole house by myself. And I didn't give away $3,000 to a bunch of idiots that are trying to take out a second mortgage to get me to move. See? So patience. Patience is what that was. So I've got everything neatly stacked. I think, probably another 5 or 6 days of just tinkering around, I'll have it all done. The sad part is, man, there's a lot of things I wish I had access to right now. All right, so I'm going to go back and take a look at these comments. We've yet to talk about Section 8 low-income housing. I haven't seen questions yet, but I'm going to scroll through. Marilyn Wells, welcome to the channel. Happy holidays. Hopefully Santa's going to come and see you. Go to, hey, good morning, good afternoon. How are you? Trisha Smith, hello from Boston, Mass. Man, oh man, you know what? Boston is a very popular state. I rank it up there with New York, New Jersey, Boston, and California, because I get most of my clients from those states, clearly. Boston, especially. I'm getting a lot of that. And Boston is a lot like Louisiana with interesting dialects. You can really distinctively tell the differences, whether you're from there or not, when you talk to somebody from Boston. So it's actually quite entertaining. Uh, so let's see, Mister. Hey, what's going on, man? Glad to see you in the channel. Good Redmond, good to see you too. Did my question not post? I do not see Good Redmond. I do not see a question from you. So please keep in mind, guys, when you post a question in here and you don't see it, that's not me. My hands are free of a mouse. It means that YouTube, for whatever reason, has decided to hold it for a minute or two, and it'll release it when it wants to. It can also block your whole question if it wants to. Okay, I have no control over that. It may reveal it in a minute. It can reveal it in 5 minutes. So I don't see anything good, Redmond. T, thank you, Jay. We need more like you. Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate you saying that, brother. Glenn Johnson II. I am autistic, so well, Glenn, I have lots of clients that are on spectrum, so I do understand where you're coming from. And by the way, people that are on spectrum and have autism, Asperger's, and other issues like that, many of which are highly intelligent people, you know, I think that Hollywood does makes these movies and does an injustice to that community. I've met some voraciously intelligent people, despite some of the setbacks that come along with being the spectrum. So it's good to see you here, Glenn. So Glenn goes on to say, I was watching a video on YouTube, and it's about renting a house is getting more expensive. Yes, it is. The pandemic create a situation where people can pay rent. And then a lot of landlords, when they didn't receive rent for about a year, decided to heat up the market, and rents are now 20-30% more in a lot of areas. And not only that, but the government stimulated the purchase of a home by offering 25,000 down for anybody that hadn't bought a house in 3 years. And so the market is definitely way overheated. Rents are extremely high now, almost to the point where vouchers are becoming useless in certain parts of the country. Um, Moving on, Glenn goes on to say, I'm concerned that I can't afford to get a voucher. Well, you can get the voucher. You may not be able to use it. It depends. It depends on really where you are. Is Section 8 housing program getting more expensive? No. I think possibly, Glenn, you have a wrong perspective on this. So it's not the housing authority and the voucher you're seeking that's getting more expensive. I think it's just the places where you'd want to utilize that to pay rent that may be getting more expensive. And now look, just because everybody's talking about that on the news doesn't mean it affects your specific area. Look, guys, until you try, you go out and see the prices. Don't just instantly go into a negative mode. One of the things that I've learned in the last 10, 15 years with the news, it isn't what it used to be in the 80s. A lot of the news reported today is sensationalized. It is more than what it is. It's less than honest, and it's often politically motivated. So I would take it with a grain of salt. I've gotten to where I barely even read the news because there's nothing fun and interesting about it anymore. It's always about some sad shit, and rarely is it that truthful or transparent. So I'd say experience life first before you go and believe something out of a newspaper on YouTube or Google. T says, congratulations. Yeah, and you're right. Good Redmond. Interesting. The only properties accepting Section 8 in my area that may be possibly available is renting higher than my voucher limit. Not sure how to handle this. Let's talk about voucher limits, and let's talk about rent reasonableness. You guys get a voucher cut to you whenever you apply, and it's worth a certain amount, and it allows you to have a certain number of bedrooms. Now, one thing that we're all acquainted with is the fact that landlords can up their rent on you every 6 months. What most of you fail to do or realize is, just like the landlord can put in a requisition to raise his rent every 6 months, you can also requisition the housing authority to reconsider the value of your voucher every 6 months. But nearly nobody does that. And mostly because you're unapprised and you do not know your rights. Sorry. Or even know how to do that. So if you have a voucher that you've not asked for an increase for in the last 25 years, well, guys, it's time to make a phone call. Hey, look, you know what? I've not been recertified, or nobody's evaluated the allocation I'm being given as a voucher in 15 years. Unfortunately, life changes and I need more. That's the reality, guys. Footwork. Think about that for a minute. If you don't know how to do it, then hire a consultant. It doesn't have to be me, but you maybe get somebody in your corner that can help you get through that process. Look, housing authorities are notorious about acting in the same parallel as insurance companies. Their policy is to deny, 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 deny. So if you don't, you have to be very persistent and really understand how they operate to kind of compel or force them into giving you those rent increases. Everything to do with the housing authority and these vouchers can often lead to complicated games. And look, I've made 300 videos on YouTube. I think at this point you can trust what I'm telling you. Okay, moving on. Nikki Jenkins, wow, it's been a minute. Merry Christmas to you. How are you doing? Nikki Jenkins goes on. What about Section 8 Galveston County? Wow, Nikki, I didn't realize you were out that way. So Galveston County is about an hour from me here in Houston. I'm actually in North Houston, Tomball. And yeah, I think it's an option out there. I don't think that Galveston County is probably the best place to utilize, but I think that you have a fair and reasonable chance if that's where you want to be. Yeah, Nikki. Gale Resources, longtime member of the channel. Good morning and happy holidays. I keep saying good morning despite it being 4 o'clock. Glenn Johnson, second. Okay, thank you. You're most welcome, Glenn. I definitely enjoyed telling you that. Good Redmond, strange. My question, you mentioned a program, federal run from last year, only a small percentage of the funds used. Okay, so let's talk about what Mr. Good Redmond's talking about. During the pandemic, they issued federal funds. Okay, that was to save everybody in the rent. That program was called ERAP. And so let's go over what that is. It's an acronym. ERAP, Emergency Rental Assistance Program. That acronym of 4 letters was issued by the United States Treasury to assist under the Trump administration, which would have been 12 months of back rent. And then when Trump left and Biden jumped in, then Biden decided that he would like to assist people with future rents. Rent as of current you can't pay, and then 18 months going forward. The name of the program has not changed. Where it got convoluted is when the Treasury started cutting checks to every state, cutting checks, they took the acronym ERAP and then they changed every state and county that applied and wanted to utilize that program, decided they'd like to give it a new acronym. It's no longer ERAP. It could be called RAP. It could be called Metro Key and all these different things. So it made it nearly impossible for people to find what that was and how it is system. Not only that, but of course to people in other nations like China and Russia that decided to build thousands and thousands of scam websites. Why? Because what do desperate people do when they get on Google? They look for assistance, right? And you're willing to give what? Your driver's license, social security, and everything they need to basically take out a loan in your name. And so a lot of scam artists capitalized on that game while everybody was in a fury. The ending result of all that funding being issued through the pandemic was this. Out of nearly $500 billion, only 6.2% of all the money issued by the United States Treasury to help people actually even reach the people. So what happened? It's very simple. They cut the check, and then your local politicians, your Republicans, and your Democrats sit there. And while they were staying in their $1 million mansions, they argued back and forth while smoking a fat cigar over a nice $1,800 glass of whiskey, arguing between each other how it should be dispersed while they sat with their fat ass getting air conditioning. And in the meantime, 40 million people got evicted. You see my point? This is what you pay your politicians to do. Nothing. This was every state. It affected both sides of the parties, okay? Just sitting around convoluted that shit so badly and made it so strenuous for anybody to get, so fucking confusing and so outrageous that only 6.2%. What happened with the rest of the money? Well, the Biden administration took it. They pulled out the broom. They swept all the money right back into the government, and they're now using to fix the highways and other bullshit. Congratulations. Now you know you're a true American because your assistance is only there for 30 minutes, then it gets swept under the fucking rug, and then it'll be spent to improve ditches in big corporations. And so, by the way, guys, I'm not a party of either political party. I hate politics as a whole. That means all of them. That's why I bought land in an unrestricted area because I don't want any politicians deciding shit for me. If I never saw one again till the day I die, I'd be just fine. I can manage me and my forest just by myself. I don't need anybody to fucking vote to tell me what I need to do. That's just how I see things. I've never once met any of these people. I could give a damn what they do. All right, moving on. So I guess that makes me a forest extremist from the Ozarks, right? All right, so I got that out of my system. Apprentice Gray, hello. Happy holidays, my friend. Sharon Cooper, thank you, Jay. Shalom to everyone. Shalom back to you. Trisha Smith, I was on Section 8 waiting list for 18 years now, but when my name came up on the list to be next, the Housing Authority now on that took it off the list, and do they have the right to do that? Well, I don't have enough about your case details, Ms. Smith, to say. For you to be on a waiting list 18 years, that's unheard of. It truly is. Most people only wait about 12, and that's when they give every wrong answer. I don't know anybody that's waiting 18 years. So you sound like your case is complicated. And I'd have to probably put in an open federal request to see what the reasons were. That could be fought, could go to arbitration, a lot of shit you could do. So I don't know. I don't know the case details. Does it sound proper or right to me? No. But like I said, without knowing a lot, I couldn't tell you. Trebo, hey, man, what's going on? Merry Christmas, he or she. Again, right. Nikki Jenkins, I filled out an application, gave them my bank statement and information in October, and they still have not gotten back to me. Sounds about right. Look, the result is not much different from myself. I'm having the same level of difficulty with the housing authorities as most of you do when you deal with them, okay? I'm a little bit more skilled than y'all, but the reality is most of them are half staff. Half the staff quit. Half of them they kept. Most of them are working in their slippers and their pajamas from their home, and most of them really don't. They didn't want to earn their fucking paycheck before the pandemic. Now the pandemic's hit. They really don't want to do anything. And so you'll see how this process goes with dealing with housing authorities and lazy bastards. That's just what it is. I'm gonna call it the way I see it. So how can I speak in that manner to y'all? Why should I use those profanities? Look, I've dealt with hundreds of housing authorities. This is not something new. This is not something that just affects one or two. They're all the same. It's a broken system with idiots running it. I've seen it and experienced it so much, there's no doubt in my mind. Now, are there good people in housing authorities? Absolutely. You get a few good ones, but they always leave. Nobody wants to stay in there with people that act, in that manner. So, all right. Apprentice Gray goes on to say, hello, my name is, and I hope I'm probably saying it wrong, but just for the sake of speed, I'm going to just call you Apprentice, okay? Or we'll call you Alp. I'm interested in homeless shelters in New York. You're interested in homeless shelters. Why? Anyways, goes on to say in New York, I'm looking for housing to see. Check today's help. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Gray, on that comment, the comment's so broken up, and I'm not quite understanding what you're telling me. Look, New York's filled with homeless shelters. If anybody truly has been to some really bad homeless shelters, the homeless shelters are set up like the county jail in New York. They don't even play with it. They're multi-floor often, and they are run just like the county jail without the bars, okay? You are cattle being processed, and once you enter that system, it's extremely hard for me to get clients out of it. Caseworkers there just got their GED out the bubblegum machine. Trust me, they're not trying to do shit for you, okay? That's a difficult situation in New York. So when you live in places like New York and New Jersey, you better damn well get a consultant because you're competing at near impossible odds half the time, just like LA. Going on, Trisha Smith, very complicated. Yes, a lot of this stuff is complicated. And it's further convoluted because there's a lot to hide in the program when we don't hire educated people to administer it. Trebo, what are your thoughts on the Houston Housing Authority? Well, being that I live out here in the Houston area, I think that the Houston Housing Authority, I would give them 2 stars out of 5. I wouldn't give any housing authority more than 3. I don't think they're necessarily bad. Now, last year they caught a guy selling vouchers. Just to show you how they run things over there, they hired a new gentleman, and the guy was selling vouchers. Now, keep in mind, the Houston Housing Authority was closed. They hired him for the Bissonnet office. Now, this is a closed housing authority with supposedly no vouchers. This guy was pulling vouchers out of his drawer, signing the name, and then selling them for $5 grand. So, did you just detect a lot of lies within that conversation? Of course you did. I'm not the one lying. It's the fact that they say they don't have things when they do. Two, that's what happens when you pick up a felon fresh out the Harris County jail and you give him a job that involves vouchers. So they arrested him. So what do I think of it? It's a hot mess like everything else. I think the system's more fair here in Texas. Okay, it's not as strenuous as that of other major cities, but it is what it is. Okay, so I think it's decent. Are you okay down there? All right. So lost my complete train of thought. Isn't that illegal? Yeah, purchase and sell of vouchers is absolutely illegal. But what can you do when people break the law and they accept the job? This is not the first time. We've had housing authority directors that were giving out vouchers as if they were gift cards at their Christmas party. You can be assured that nobody, no low income person, could get a voucher in that town. But the maid and her lawn guy, they certainly had vouchers. They were they were like little Christmas presents. So if you guys are under the delusion that the housing authority is operating in most cases ethically, you better question that. We can Google about 200 pages of housing authorities and people working there that have been sued, arrested, and dragged in federal courts for trying to run housing authorities like the Wild West. So I don't need to invent the story. It's all very present and clear across Google and most news agencies just how many people have been thrown in jail for the shit they pulled. Now, these are supposed county employees. So, do you think this operates ethically or emotionally? Well, that's that's up to you. All right, so moving on. Again, Sonia Grinstep. Hey, what's going on? Happy holidays. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the advice of getting a P.O. box address in the area I use to live and reply. I'm back on the list. Thank you, San Diego, California. Hey guys, what I mentioned? A lot of housing authorities do pre-applications. They're looking for two things on pre-applications. It is an application to do what? It's not an application to give you a voucher. It's an application to eliminate. So what I mean by eliminate is if you don't show an address in their county, you don't live or work there, and you're not low income, then they pretty much just throw you all the way to the back within the list, and you'll just wait a lifetime. With most of my clients, I advise them get a real street address in every city you're going to fool with. All right, especially when you apply. That way, you end up getting that boost that you're going to need, and you're not going to be automatically dumped to the back of the list. All right, just common sense, guys. There's lots of ways to play the game, and for those of you that don't think that applying, getting, and utilizing vouchers is not a game, then why do we have lotteries? Is a lottery not a game? Do you see my point? So, anyways, while I wait for more questions here, we'll talk about Arkansas. Why not? So, that poorest. We've been talking about some of the things we do out there, and I'll keep an eye down here in case you guys decide to ask questions about Second Aid and all that. So, we're looking at bird feeders. So, different bird feeders to hang in the trees for different types of birds. And I'm also looking at putting bees. Now, the nice part is there are no farms or pesticides or human intervention in that area. And there's a national forest that goes on as far as they can see. So I think a beautiful beehive there would be a cool idea. I'm not really going to be selling honey or nothing. I might go out and get a teaspoon for the pancakes, but so I'm going to utilize the natural resources to attract birds and bees and other things out there strictly for the pleasure of doing so, not to exploit my bees and go sell it at Kroger's. By the way, that shit y'all buy at the grocery store, that's not real honey. 99% of that stuff is just fake. The whole market's flooded with fake Asian honey and shit like that. If I do make a few bottles and offer them to y'all, you'll see it come directly out of the hive. But I don't plan on exploiting my bees. But I have to watch that because we have black bears, and I don't know if they eat honey or not. We're all raised to believe the bears climb the tree and put their paw into that. So we'll see what happens with that. And I think we're putting some stuff out to attract a few deers. I don't want to kill them or shoot them. I'd like for them to come and visit. The ecology of the land's important. You don't want a dead forest with nothing chirping or moving. That's crazy. People buy land, all they want to do is cut everything down and kill everything, and then slap a slab on it and go buy, no, 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 lawnmower. I don't want a lawnmower. I don't even want a lawn. Look, it's a forest. I'm not going to install grass. I need to go mow. That's absurd. Just keep it a forest. It does its own thing. So, anyways, got a few other things to mention here. We have some big concerns coming along, okay, guys? And I know y'all going to get up in arms about this, but I'm bringing it up. That Omicron virus, we've already been through the COVID-19, and this Omicron thing is going after nations at, man, unbelievable speeds. Is this stuff deadly? Not really, okay? Does that getting the Omicron probably just lead to a little more than a common cold or the flu? Yeah. I don't really think it's that deadly. The problem is, I don't think we really have a great defense against it. And from what I'm seeing in other nations right now, they're being overtaken. And now this is strictly on what I've read, okay? They're being overtaken at 4 times the speed of COVID-19. In other words, this shit is highly contagious. And because of our political divide in this country, mask and no mask, I believe and I don't believe, vax or don't vax, and all that other shit, we've already seen one rampage with the virus. So here's my concerns. It's not about people getting this. It's about what it's going to do to the economy. We can't take another blow to housing right now. We cannot take another blow where we're spending trillions of dollars, and one more hit to the housing market for low income people, and this whole fucking system is going to collapse. We were at the verge of that. We're on the verge of it now. We're so close. Too many people entering the Section 8 low income housing. We're at the limit. We're at a historic limit. If this thing goes on a rampage around this country, makes a bunch of people sick, we start shutting things down, which might be inevitable, then we might, for the first time in U.S. history, it won't be everybody. It'll be low-income people that'll suffer through this deal. And what's going to end up doing is collapsing part of the market, and the rents will become completely absurd. So I'm not trying to sensationalize this. I'm just telling you that no good could come of that stuff spreading around here. And the effect and what I'm concerned about is not the virus phenomenon and all that. It's the effect of what it's going to do in the economy and low-income housing. And right now, the system is strained to its absolute limits. Okay? I've seen it. I understand it. I talk with enough people. We can't handle another hit like this, and it's coming for us. It's already going after the UK pretty badly. So we have a bunch of sick people there. The people aren't really, in my opinion, dying or anything, but it's causing a lot of economic problems. You see my point? So I'm going to move on from that. That's suggestive of based on information that I've read across all political agencies that purport to news. Shannon Cooper, question. If you're disabled, is there a way to be part of Section 8 home buyers program? Yeah. Let's talk about home purchase. When you receive a voucher, the first thing that you want to do when you're considering a home is this. You got to communicate with your housing authority and see, do you participate in utilizing vouchers to pay the mortgage on a home, okay? In 2000, they almost every state had the program, every housing authority. Since then, it's dwindled down quite a bit. So you need to contact the housing authority and see whether or not they actually still participate in that home buying program. What would happen is, rather than that voucher, the payment, rather than it paying the landlord, that voucher payment would go towards your mortgage. So the voucher payment would be direct deposit to the bank, your lender. Okay. And then, of course, you would have your rent responsibility, 20 or 30%, and you pay out of your pocket, your rent responsibility towards the mortgage. Okay. Your voucher does not go out and buy you a house. You still have to go through the same thing as if you had bought the house yourself. So there's the involvement of the housing authority and its rules. There's the involvement of a real estate agent and or broker to help you find the home. There's a third party involved, which is going to be the lender, which must be approved both by HUD's rules and the bank rules. And then for those of you that don't understand the process in its entirety, you have the option to deal with a consultant like me that understands part of that system as well. So that's 4 different parties. How quickly does this happen? Let's be realistic. Contingent on how things are for you, and how much of the rules you actually match and can meet. This could go on for several months, and in worst case scenario, 9 months. I don't know of any house you can buy in under 30 days anyway. So it's not that far of a cry to think that this process can go on for 3 or 4 months. You still have to find a house, still have to find a lender. This is not something that happens overnight. You don't go to the house and go, excuse me, I'd like to cash in my voucher for a house. That's just an ignorant way of looking at that. It's much more sophisticated, complicated than that. Okay, I'm not saying that to you, the person that asked the question, but I was going to tell you guys it's probably one of the more sophisticated things that I actually work with clients on out of all the stuff that I offer as a consultant because it takes so much damn time to get through. Okay, especially when there's something that we're not a requirement, we're not meeting, we're working towards. All right, I'm gonna take a swig of my drink. Wish I had made a little coffee. All right, well, that was all the energy drink I had left. And I think not a coffee. Man, I'm not prepared today. Go to says some electrical fencing will help protect the beehives from predators. I think I put a little chicken wire around it. I got to see what's going to happen out there with that. Whether it's going to be necessary or not necessary, but I appreciate that. I'm a little bit apprehensive about using anything that's electrified when it comes to inclusion of animals and birds and other things. So I have to see. Um, Trebo, do you think they will enforce lockdowns again? I don't know. And then even if I did, I don't know. I know that they're attempting to do so already in certain places in the nation. I think that whatever's going to happen, guys, with this Acromenon and so UK's already blowed up a bunch of sick people. It's just going nuts over there. I figured the fallout will hit here in the U.S. between January and March, and we'll see the repercussion of that. This has been a tough 2 years, guys, and we're about to flip and go through it again because this damn thing that doesn't seem to respond to these vaccines, and it's so much more contagious than what we already had. And so we'll just see, man. I'm not a qualified professional, so really I don't want to get too deep in that. Kevin Winters, Jay, after you researched some of the sources you gave us, why, for example, Colorado was given a 1023 EHV vouchers and only 129 of them been issued? Well, because they changed gears. At first, the housing authorities were over the principal rule of handing out and deciding factors for EHVs, which is emergency housing vouchers. Then they changed gears and they made that process only selected through, continuum of care. So the continuum of care housing choice means they prefer most people are going to give an emergency housing voucher to be somebody that's homeless, domestic violence victim, or disabled, going through the continuum of care process, not the housing authority. And so the reason it's going so slowly is you can't simply just go and apply. You must have a referral from another agency. And so, like anything else, it's been convoluted. I've been learning how to navigate that system to try to get my clients. I've been successful 6 times. I've failed 20. So I still call it a mythical unicorn, and it works. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. It actually helps. By the way, guys, if y'all wonder why I keep itching my nose, I went to the dentist, and he's flipping painkillers they gave me to help with this. For some reason, I'm scratching like hell, and I don't, I don't know why. So it's like my nose, man, is just going crazy. So maybe I'm having a reaction to it. By the way, the painkillers are not narcotics. Okay. Um, Shirley Gore, did I mention that I am homeless and 67 years old, disabled, very low income? Found someone to stay with temporarily. I need help. Can you help me? Uh, Shirley, well, Miss Shirley, yes, probably so. Uh, would need to know a great deal more about you, Shirley. Also, there's a lot of options open to you, Shirley. You don't necessarily need a consultant. You don't necessarily need to pay anybody to do anything. I'm a consultant, so I do this for a living. Uh, I would say look around and see who would be the best option to assist you with your case. They have social worker, case worker, all kinds of people to see who would be most suitable to get you through the process the best. Okay. If you want to utilize me or at least check me out, I'll give you a couple links here. Again, guys, I'm not here to sell anything. My reputation does that by itself. I don't need to solicit or advertise a damn thing. I get thousands of emails every month, and I get hundreds of calls. It's I don't need to market anything anymore these days. Shannon Cooper, thanks, Jay. I'm looking forward to making an appointment with you. I'm looking forward to speaking with Miss Cooper. So, look, guys, one of the interesting things about what I do and what makes me a little bit different than other people, other than the fact that I'm pretty good at what I do, is it's not just a job. I actually enjoy what I do. And when we win, when we get what we need from housing authorities, we get the voucher and we get it quicker than everybody else. I take an immense amount of pleasure in defeating housing authorities. Like any good case, I'm looking like a thief in the night for us to get what we need, okay, within the legal limits and bounds of the law. So, finding these loopholes and exploiting them the same way that congressmen do it. So that's the thing, guys. Part of the reason I'm successful is I meticulously go through this stuff to find those loopholes. And so I enjoy it because when the system is rigged, what am I doing? I'm unrigging it long enough for you to get what you need. How often is that successful? Sometimes. I post my results. Most people that do consulting wouldn't dare do that. I do. I don't mind telling people my failure rate's close to 10%. It is what it is. You got better odds than me when you do with a scratch off. So there you go. um, so let's move on here. Social Butterfly. I like that. So first interesting name of the day. Social Butterfly has earned that. I received an eligibility letter asking for some information. Then I saw it said it respond in 10 days or your application is canceled. The mail ran late and I just ripped up the letter and I buy a tent. Let me give you a warning, guys, about this, okay? Social Butterfly. When you deal with a housing authority and people hang up to you, they lie to you, they make the stuff strenuous, what are they doing? Have they not achieved their goal? I've warned you guys hundreds of times over hundreds of videos. The goal is absolutely achieved. They did exactly what they intended to do. That was to get you mentally to think to yourself, well, this is too much bullshit. Fuck it, I give up. They get 90% of you guys to quit just on principle. Stop doing that. I want you to unrip that fucking letter seriously because you're needlessly throwing that away. I want you guys to learn how to deal with adversity. Y'all going into this like you're going into Macy's to buy a nightgown and get possibly a block of tonic. Housing authorities are a perilous pain in the ass where you deal with people that are condescending and rude and confusing. For those of you that are willing to survive that adversity, it means you expect that. So you think to yourself this morning, okay, I know when I get on this phone, this woman's going to talk shit to me, but I know that I'm here for the end result. I'm not going to allow this to wreck me mentally. And that's how I prepare my clients. I warn them in advance to be able to counter these measures and not let them get in your head. Otherwise, the result of what they're doing is achieving the goal they want to do. They thin the herd and get people to quit just because they can't handle it. Look, you can. Trust me. You can. Okay. So I want you to go and get another application. And then I want you to spend the extra $2.30. Get down to the post office, send it with the only thing we got to have it is post dated. You're thinking it's got to be there in 10 days. If we got a tracking number on that showing that it was in the mail Saturday morning before noon, you're fine. Okay, there's other remedies. It's not the end of the world. They would have you believe if you were 1 minute over the 10th day that you're ruined. It's not true. What do you think happens when you got disabled and elderly people and they're given that absurd 10-day rule? They can't meet it. Well, you're protected under the 2008 Disability Act, guys. Look, do not take these warning and shitty letters they give you. Well, this is the timeline, and if you don't meet it exactly at the stroke of midnight, your life's going to be ruined. You've got to stop buying into the bullshit. Okay, look, don't do that. Get the fucking application, fill it out. You got to keep going with the process. If you survive the adversity of the process, you'll get what you need. Living in a tent. Let me tell you something. A lot of you guys, I'll just sell it all, give it away. I don't even care anymore. I'm going to live in homeless. You don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that. It only takes 30 days for your life to be liquidated, and then you're left standing there with your purse in a homeless shelter and it's 10 times harder for me to get you out of that situation than it would be to recover you before you reach it. Okay? It takes 30 days to get you in a shelter. It takes months, if not years, for me to drag you guys out of homelessness. Please do not go pitch a fucking tent in the woods. That is not a good idea. And you're too old for that. Look, guys, stop doing that. Please. I've had to rescue people out of the woods already, under bridges, on the sidewalk, in the bushes. And we're not talking about young folks. We're talking about people that are in their 70s. I just rescued a family of 15 out of the woods camping. That's not a joke, people. Please stop doing that. All right, so I've said what I have to say about that, and I hope you reconsider your application. OA127, happy holidays. How are you? Merry Christmas. Anna Gone. Hi, how are you? Happy holidays. Hopefully Santa Claus is coming to see you and the family. Good Redmond. Yes, happy holidays to you and everyone else. Good Redmond. I don't know how to say that word. We'll keep going. Danielle Faulkner. I've been unable to get my exact worker amount from the PHA. By the way, guys, the acronym PHA is just a cool term, Poor Housing Authority. My worker is the director of housing as well, and the Section 8 manager. Well, how the hell has that person got that many positions? So, well, Daniel Faulkner, that's hard to know. Until I know the actual absolute case details behind that, I'd be no better than the guy giving your weather report, or I can be a gypsy and pull out a crystal ball and we can do a reading real quick. Do y'all want a crystal ball reading? I got to know more detail. That's the thing, guys. To make an educated guess, at the very least, I got to know more. So, good Redmond, trying to move with guide dog for the blind, trying to move with a guide dog for the blind. Current apartment, looking at ones, 500 non-refundable. If you're using it as an emotional support pet, I want you to Google deposits, assistance with deposits from the federal government. I believe they'll help you out with that, good Redmond. It takes a bit of Googling, but I believe you can get assistance. I believe you can also get assistance at the county and state level with that as well. $500 is an exceptional amount, so I think that could be inclusionary of fraud. I don't think that is necessary by the landlord, nor do I think it's legal. I think probably that'd be a violation of some city ordinance. And I'm not even sure that you can charge that on an emotional support pet. Okay. So I think that probably research would be due on that. Monette Jenkins, I agree, Jay. The other day I waited on the phone 5 hours. Late at the housing authority hung up on me. I called back, got through, keep going with the process. Very true, Monette. I know what you mean by that. I've been hung up on too, and I've waited a lifetime at half of these places. I've just moved to this point to make everything by a letter, making me, except with a tracking number or signature, because phone conversations are completely worthless. So all I do at this point is I put out demand letters. I back it with federal law. If they don't respond in a reasonable time, that means they have denied me my federal rights. And then I go motion to OBM their ass and file a report for discrimination. And then I'll let HUD go after their ass. So there's lots of remedies for housing authority employees that just want to do what they want to do. There's lots of ways. It only takes a moment to make them a housing authority employee. It only takes another moment for them to no longer have a paycheck, and they'll be the one walking down the sidewalk with one flip-flop, and they'll be the ones begging for a voucher. Trust me on that deal. There are lots of remedies for bad housing authority employees. Social Butterfly, okay, I'll reconsider what they were asking for. So much info, plus they said it's a 10-year waiting list. Hey, guys, what do you think that achieves when a housing authority says, hey, by the way, Sally, we appreciate your call today. We want to help you with a voucher. So what's going to happen here is once you fill that out, we're going to put you on our 95-year waiting list. Would you like to press accept, or would you like to press give up? Them saying that bullshit is exactly what it is. There's no way they can establish that it's 10 years. Preferentially speaking, they say things like that because let's go back to that. What does it achieve by telling somebody, oh, by the way, we're so glad we have your application. So we're going to put you on the 93-year waiting list. Did you want to stay with this? Did you want to go ahead and sign down there for them? Or, you want to call back tomorrow? Thing is, it's a mental game. And you get suckered into, oh, yes, 10 years. No, it's not. No, it's not. Let me tell you something. Somebody out there that's got no legs, blind, that just served their country, do you think he's waiting 10 years? No. Okay, so that was the first lie they told you. And I'm going to tell you, just like I would tell school children, don't ever believe shit out these people's mouth. Okay. None of my clients have waited over 2 years in principal, except for in serious state. So that's an absolute flagrant lie. And it works perfectly because what did it do? You actually made that comment in my channel and you actually believe what that woman or guy told you. And that's the thing, most of you do. Sometimes I worry about you guys because you act as if these county employees working in the housing authority are just good Christian people. They're always going to be honest. And anytime you've got a question or you need help, they're going to pray for you. They're going to come down to your house and put hands on you. And they only have your best interest. And you should believe everything they say because they're the housing authority. They're nobody. They're a fantastic fucking joke. And they have policies and procedures which must be followed. And when you get on the phone with them, there's no matter of record. So they can literally tell you, I hate you and hang up on you. But unfortunately, nobody recorded the call. Everything needs to be done by mail. Anything that comes off their little lips to come out of the housing authority, don't worry about believing it. If they tell you need to do something, you need to mail me that. Email me. That's why they don't like emailing and mailing anything, because that's a matter of record. So, is it that extreme everywhere? No, I'm just saying that I see enough of this to know that that's how a lot of this does go on. But yeah, 10 years is a joke. You're going to wait no 10 years. Mr. and Mrs. O'Collins got a stroke, hard to talk. I understand. Well, your keyboard's working today, Miss Collins, and I'm glad you're still with us. That means you got more fight to give. It means that you should keep moving. I have lots of people with heart attacks, strokes, extremely disabled. I've got children that will never have an opportunity in their life, and you got parents trying to raise them with extraordinary medical bills. And so I feel for you as much as I do many of my clients. I got a lady that went through domestic violence, was stabbed 17 times. When the gentleman swung the knife, he raked off all her fingers. You guys really do think you have problems until you've met some of my clients. I believe that all of you need help, and I believe that all of you believe you have the worst case in the worst situation. But trust me when I tell you this, after dealing with hundreds of clients, everybody's got a bad situation. And I take every case and every situation very seriously. And so, yes, my heart does go out to you for the stroke part of that deal. That is a very serious thing, and that could end up being very lethal. I'm hoping that you get better, truly. So I'm not trying to admonish you or say that it's any less than anything else. I'm just saying that many of my clients are mangled, near death, and other issues. And so I feel the same way for all of you, that I want you to be able to get housing so you can get along and spend whatever quality of life you have left, just living that life, you know. One thing I'm going to talk about real quick, guys, since I got 35 viewers, is let's talk about the home purchase program. Everybody's wanting to jump in this market. Can I get a voucher? Can I get a food stamp card? And can I move on with life? That should not be your thought process. I would like very much at some point to see you guys utilize that voucher to purchase a home. Now, you can go live in a big complex full of prostitutes and drug dealers and everything else and live that kind of life. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe not. But the point is, you can use that voucher to purchase a home. You can use it towards your mortgage. A lot of you guys need to investigate that. If you're not too old and you're not too disabled, then you should put that on the table. You're already going to hell and back just to get a voucher. You've already dealt with the nastiness of the housing authority. How much further stretch of imagination would it take for you to actually spend 4 to 9 months of your life working towards utilizing that voucher towards the purchase of a home? I'm desperately pushing y'all to do that because where we're going as a nation, and rents and costs to rent places are reaching unrealistic levels. If you guys start now working towards utilizing the voucher to pay a mortgage on a house, you will be your own landlord. You will not be at jeopardy. As long as you guys remain in the system looking for that voucher, living in some little low income housing, it's not yours. You're always going to be paying somebody else's mortgage. I want y'all to think carefully about this. It makes little difference to me if your IQ is a 61, if you're on spectrum, if you're missing a leg, 2 eyeballs, and 5 teeth. I've got clients that have got lots of issues that have managed to do. I've got one with schizophrenia, okay? We're talking days that are good and some days got to get inpatient therapy. He got through that system, okay? Thing is, for those that truly are persistent with this, you can get through it. Your life, when you own the little home with a little lawn, it's so much better quality of a life than you sitting there in some shitty little $2 apartment, never knowing when these people can evict you or put your ass out, and then you got to march to whatever beaten rules they have and deal with it. Whatever absurdity, guys. Look, if you've lost hope in the system or being an American, I want you to reconsider homeownership. The program was designed for people that already have completely busted up lives, bad credit, and so on. They already designed the program with you in mind. You guys are treating the home, HUD purchase of a home and all as if you need to be a normal person with normal credit and all that. You don't. Please put it back on your table and consider it, guys. I would rather see you guys transition to homes, okay? Why else would you want to live and breathe on earth? What were you born for? To be a renter the rest of your life? Look, guys, I want you to get a piece of the American dream, even if it's a tiny home, okay? Put it back on the table. Consider it. All right, moving on. Vashi, you know what? I'm going to call you Vash because your name's difficult for me, and it's interesting. So cool. My PHA kept my utility allowance check because I turned in my electric bill 1 day late. That could be disputed, okay, or arbitrated. They will eventually have to give it back on one corporate cycle, which means 30 days. So if you don't see your money back within 30 to 60, then you can solicit them to do so, or you can file a report with HUD, okay? And he gone. Says, how can we use vouchers to pay our own home? Okay, I don't want to get too deeply in utilizing a voucher to purchase a home. I know I've suggested this, but that is a long and complicated answer. Actually, a video like that would be around 2 hours. I would say if you have questions in regards to that, to reach out to me personally. I'm going to put up some information. Doesn't mean you need to pay me anything. Doesn't mean you need to book a consult. Frame up your questions, send the email, and I'll do my best to assist you with that. But it is a complex topic, and it's not going to be like the rest of YouTube. I cannot just simply make a video. Well, here's 3 unicorn tips to using the voucher for you to get a home. Okay, that's what a party clown does and makes the video when it's an idiot. This is a serious matter, and it deserves serious discussion. But unfortunately, I'm not hanging out another 2 hours on here to go through a pretty complicated process. But let's just say, first step would be contacting the housing authority, Ms. Gone, to determine whether or not they are participating in the program, which would allow you to do so. So, those of you that are interested in home, I don't know, I hope I didn't come off too rough. Now, you guys know that I'm a lively little spirit. I use lots of profanities. I don't sugarcoat shit, and so it takes a minute to adjust your hearing aids, canes, and walkers to tune into me because I tend to be a little bit more lively. But that's how I express the true the gravity of what I want to talk about. I'm not, that's just how it is. If you're unable to handle profanities, this is going to be a terrible channel for you. You can always go down to Sally Schubacher and fidget spinners. This week, she's an expert at fidget spinners. Next week, she will be an expert at bumblebees. And then the week after that, she will be a master expert at Section 8 vouchers. She's going to give you 3 tips to how to instantly get a voucher. And so we got lots of clowns like that on YouTube. Everything's going to be in 3 steps. 3 steps to find Jesus, 3 steps to get a voucher, all horseshit. So my advice is hire a real consultant. Unless you like party clowns. There are lots of them on YouTube. They do it for a living. Shannon Cooper says, you are telling the truth, Jay. God, that's the part about me. It's rough. I like to do it, but I like to be a little bit sassy when I give the truth. I like to kind of put a little bit of bite on you. That way you get mad at me almost. Monette Jenkins gave me a smile. Bash Hajan, I think that's how we say it. We'll call you Bash again. Thank you very much. You're most welcome. Drea W laughing at me. I got you. T, home ownership. Yep. Y'all know you got to do the house ownership, man. Look, give me a challenge here. We've been doing these vouchers for so long. Let's try a house. What's it going to cost you? Like, you know what, guys, y'all spend more on beer and cigarettes and your children than you are to invest in the one thing that's most important in your life outside of your children, and that you own a home. You guys will spend more money on that bullshit washer at $1,000 than y'all invest trying to hire a consultant to get you in a home. Look, guys, y'all got to straighten out your priorities. Y'all waste money on all kinds of crazy shit. You know you're driving, you on the cool, you're sitting there on food stamps, you're driving through Starbucks buying an $85 fucking coffee, and then you come on my y'all come to me on a consulting, hey, can I get a payment plan? You wouldn't ask me for that at the Starbucks. Now that was just a joke. But I just wanted to call it the way I see it, man. So, anyways, yeah, I do try to keep it real, try to keep it humorous, South Louisiana style. Uh, so T goes on, can you convert reasonable accommodation approval to a Section 8 housing? Well, I think reasonable accommodations are attached to your file. So when you receive a voucher and you request a reasonable accommodation, you have it. It's there. If you decide to move or do portability in another county or state, then they may or may not grant it depending on the rules of the new housing authority. So the way you kind of structured that question, T, it makes me, I'm not sure I answered that correctly for you. Shannon Cooper, it's tight, but it's right. That's the way we got to get it around here. Look, guys, you've had enough people lie to you. As simple as that. You need to hear it for what it is. If it's too hard to hear it, then you're not fully prepared to deal with Section 8. You're just going to be in tears all the time. You're not going to be able to handle adversity. Look, most of you out here are struggling on low income. You've already been through a lot of bullshit in your life. The last thing you need is somebody sitting there trying to sell you unicorns and snake oil. Nobody has time for shit like that. You can either produce what you say you're going to produce as a consultant, or you shut the shit shop down and you go home. As simple as that. That's why my YouTube channel is not filled with angry, pissed off people. That's why I don't have reviews saying, "Oh God, this guy is the biggest circus show in town." No, it's very contrary. But I'm pretty brutal when I deal with clients. I don't deal with a lot of bullshit with people, and we keep it as straight as we can. If you're a senior and you require me to use clean language, I don't mind that. I'll straighten up on the phone just for you. But look, I can speak many different languages because you know what, guys? Let's face this reality. I deal with people from all walks of life, so whether they are former prostitutes, gang members, just got out of federal prison, whether they just proper white folks that used to live in a mansion in Florida, whether they're from the trailer park, whether they're from the hood or from the shelter. So I have to be able to speak many different languages, and I like serving everybody, not just one population, not just one shade or one color. I immensely enjoy helping everybody, and so I need to be able to speak that language in a variety of ways. Y'all get what I'm saying. Besides that. All right, just the boys, 2007. Quick question: or developments with LIHTC use HUD guidelines for applications? Well, there certainly are guidelines for Lich, but I'm not quite sure about how you're framing up that question. Why don't you shoot me an email, just a voice, and I'll be happy to address that or at least give you the policy procedure part. Go to Dark Sybil. I appreciate your realness, 100%. I'm hoping to be 102%, to be frank with you. So, guys, I'm wishing you guys, before I go, we're at about an hour, 8 minutes. I've enjoyed talking with a lot of you. I'm not leaving just yet. A few other results. Again, I will be moving my office, my cats, my property to my little forest in Arkansas. Number two, with a new landlord, we're going to be investing in a couple million into what will be equivalent of anywhere from 100 to 200 units. And those of you that end up living in the state where this is going to happen, I don't know which one it's going to be. I will be personally reviewing the application. It will not matter what just to be clear, for the landlord, I do the application approval. Now, you will have a landlord, not a landlord there, you'll have a leasing agent. It's not up to her whether or not you live there. It's up to me. So I'll make the announcement here. If you happen to live in the state and county and so on where this place is going to be, then you've got a fair shot because I'm extraordinarily reasonable when it comes to that. As long as you're not involved in things you shouldn't be, you've cleaned up your act, and you can show some social responsibility. I'm not going to require some of the absurd rules That's many landlords do, but we still have to keep it on the straight and narrow. So I will be making that announcement as soon as we, figure out what the property will be. Also, for those of you that heard me discuss the 88 properties with our Chicago landlord, a lot of that stuff's going under redevelopment, which means being remodeled. And so, with that situation, in a couple of weeks, I'll make an announcement, and there will be a number of those 88 units available. And so, if you're in or around the Chicago area, that may be of benefit to you, because in some respects, I will be the one determining whether or not you would live there. What is neat about these properties is they're all homes, they all have lawns, and the rent's really cheap. I know that this particular owner has a pension for people that are veterans. He's a very, very good man, the one that I'm working with currently. Okay. He cares. He does. Veteran, homeless, whatever it be. He wants opportunities to happen. This is the kind of landlords I like working with. I don't work with shady. I don't work with slumlords. If I even suspect for a minute that's the direction they're going, I shut them down and get rid of them. This guy's got the right place of heart with things. And the new property that may be 100 to 200 units, you're talking pretty super new and pretty damn nice. This is not going to be a place that's going to be in a ridiculous area full of crime and gunshots. And I can ensure as the day is long if I'm involved. Let me tell you something. Prostitution, drug dealing, all that will not be present on the property. If somebody manages to fool me long enough to do so, they'll be given a 3-day notice to vacate, and all their shit will be in a trash bag on 3rd Street. You will get put the fuck out. I don't allow any of that jazz going on up in there. So I always remain very much in control of these properties. I just want people who want to live their life normally. We're not going to turn this into some crazy stuff out of that property. So I'll let y'all know that these properties that I deal with landlords tend to be good places, and they remain that way. I actually try to train the apartment managers to do the same thing. People that are strong-willed, that aren't going to allow that type of riffraff to just do whatever they want up in there. So very careful about that. That way, people actually can enjoy their life and be able to rent at a reasonable amount of money without gambling with their life or being in fear. And that is a big problem across properties in this nation. Landlords want to make a lot of money, but they don't care about the people living in there, and then things devolve. That's very concerning for me. So, all right, guys, I think I've covered enough today. If nobody has further questions, then I'm going to scroll around and just see, because right now I'm just rattling on. It's been about an hour. I think we ought to probably wrap it up, and let's see what today's date is. The 18th. Santa Claus is around the corner, guys. So I think in another couple of days we'll make another video, and then I should have some more announcements. And again, I think the move date for me, the office and the class, will be around August 20th. And then I might be under contract and then come into a state near you very soon. I'll be in San Francisco doing a federal witness case March. If you're in San Fran, I'll invite you all to come out and have coffee with me. And then whatever the case is going to be with this particular property where he buys the property, if I happen to be that area, then you come by and I'll have you guys apply. And if you want the place, then, it's yours, as long as you meet the appropriate application requirements. Okay. All right. Other than that, I'm going to let y'all go. It's been long enough. And y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.